Good afternoon. This is the May meeting of the Parks and Rec Commission, and I would like to call the meeting to order. Everyone is accounted for. Do we have any citizen communication? I see no one. So at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Mike Etienne, Assistant City Manager.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the commission. So today is actually my last day serving as the interim Parks Director because after a long executive search process, we have selected two very qualified individuals to be Parks Director and Assistant Directors. So first, Lisa Wube is our new Parks and Recreation Director. So Lisa comes to us with over 15 years of experience. She was previously the Director of Parks and Recreation for the City of Lancaster. And then we have Mr. Steve Gallagher, who's been with the city for at least 2.5 years. And Steve was our park superintendent. So, and he's done a great job. So we are glad to appoint him as the assistant director. So at this time, Madam Chair, I'd like to ask Lisa to come forward and introduce herself, tell you about her background, and then we can have Steve come forward as well.
Okay, but just real quick, Mike, I want to say personally on behalf of the entire commission, thank you so much for sticking with us and putting in the time and the effort to see us through these past few months. I know that it could not have been easy because you have more than one job, and we certainly, we appreciate your presence and your thoughts and the time you put in for the Parks Department. So we will miss you, but we are thankful that we have a new director and a new assistant director. So, the next quarter is going to be a great quarter for the Parks Department. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you, and I think you all have made it much easier because we have such a great Parks and Rec Commission. And thank you for everything that you do for the city, for our citizens. It's just, you guys are doing a great job. So thank you very much. So at this time, let me ask Lisa to come forward.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Chair, commissioners, thank you so much for the opportunity to serve with the city of Victoria. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Jessica. They have made my welcome just so amazing. Things have gone very smoothly. I am on week 3. And it doesn't feel like it. It feels like I'm just a part of the family and the team, and that's a big part of what I wanted to feel when I came here. I look forward to working with each and every one of you. I have been seeing many of you. I've been watching the meetings. I've been staying abreast of many things that are taking place in our department. I look forward to working with the team moving forward. They already have some outstanding things going on. I'm just hopeful to complement that, bring some ideas and experience that I've had in the past here. And again, I just want to say thank you. I thank you again for the opportunity, and I look forward to serving the community. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well,
We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
All right, moving along to announcements. I have a short one. Oh, Steve, I'm sorry. I'm announcing Steve. Steve Gallagher, your new Assistant Parks and Recs Director.
Good evening, Commission. Thank you for the work that we've done the last couple of years. Definitely has been a pleasure working under your leadership as well as Mike's leadership and to help see where the city needs to go. It's been a lot of fun. Some of you I met about 2 years ago with Jason and Kimberly. I was able to come and present myself as the superintendent. For those that don't know, I have over 23 years of experience with recreation. Prior was with the military as a civilian in recreation for 3 different military bases. From Missouri to Illinois and Mississippi was the last one for 8 years. Many different fields from recreation coordinator, facilities management, business management, and then to come and take that experience and put it into the city has been very awesome. And just the things that we've been working on, and we got some great things we're going to show you in a little bit. It's been a lot of fun, and I definitely welcome Lisa on board. It's been a great 2.5 weeks working with her, and where we're going to be going is going to be awesome. So I appreciate that, and just whenever you guys have questions, let us know, and we'll continue forward with this mission we're on, okay?
Great, thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Steve.
Looking forward to working with you. All right, real quick, I wanted to give an update on the on announcements. So the steering committee for the community center master plan met a couple of weeks ago. It was Lisa's first day, so 3 weeks ago on the job. So it was the third meeting of the community center master plan efforts by our consultants, Populous. And in that meeting, we discussed, they presented the concepts, the survey results. They also presented a potential cost of the entire project, which is still being worked on. Later that evening, we had a public session meeting, and about 52 individuals showed up at the community center to talk through the presentation put on by Populous. It was a good meeting with some good questions, some good feedback, and overall, the crowd seemed really pleased with the direction of what the city and the consultant are doing on that 68-acre parcel. So the consultant has gone back to the table to look at the costing and the phasing, and they will be bringing that back to city council in June or July for the final proposal and recommendations. So lots of things are still happening. So excited to have Lisa and Steve on board. I think we'll see even more momentum as we go forward. So all in all, I look forward to the city council meeting where Populous will present the master plan for that, because it's very exciting for the city. So, all right. With that, let's move on to the approval of the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to look over? Do I have a motion to approve?
I'd so move.
So, second?
Second.
Thank you, Jesse. Oh, real quick, I wanted to personally thank Jesse for representing the Parks and Rec Commission at the dog park opening.
Oh,
You looked very nice in your tie. Way to represent. I understand it was an outstanding event. The signage is up on both the duck pond and the dog park. It looks awesome, so close to the rendering. So again, we are well on our way. All right, and with meetings minutes approved, we are now into other business and department updates. So I turn it over. Oh, sorry.
I'll start because we're already ready.
Oh, sorry, we need to vote on the minutes, my bad, I was so happy to be, Lisa, I'm so happy Lisa's here. Well, yeah, let's go ahead and vote, do I have an approval of the minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do you hear any nays? No, we're all approved, thank you. Thanks, Brian.
All right, so we'll start with the department updates. As you mentioned, we're going to start with the park maintenance activities. And so again, thank you very much for your support in coming out to the dog park ribbon cutting. We did that on April 20th. We had about 400 participants out there and maybe 50 dogs. But it was a beautiful day for that. And so we thank the Drain family for helping out with that, and all the businesses and contractors that helped support that event, as well as just putting it together the last year and a half. It's a beautiful park, and we look forward to keeping it up for the citizens. Also, the same sign that you see in your picture there has also been completed for the duck pond. And so you'll be able to go out there and see that work. That was also completed by sign crafters. So be sure to check that out. If you go out to the duck pond, you can see the fountains are on right now. There was about a 4-week time that they were off. There was a part manufacturer defect. The company, Clasco, sent the right parts to be aware of that. They warranted that work, and they warranted the new parts that we put on, and the team worked really hard to get out in the boat and take that fountain back to the shore, and then put it together, take it apart, and put it back in the water. So I thank the parks maintenance team for what they did with that. And so now that you'll see those interacting with the pond again. So if you got questions about that, it was a manufacturer defect, and we got that repaired. Thing that we got new coming up for our playground, part of our capital improvement and general fund construction projects coming up, is over at Brownson Park this year. At a meeting for council, a couple, probably end of March, early April, got approved. So I'll talk just a few minutes about this playground structure at Brownson Park. Brownson Park is about just under an acre, about 0.9 over off of Laurent, near Port Lavaca Highway and the railroad tracks over there. It's a nice little neighborhood park with a basketball court, a small playground and a swing set, and a couple seating areas. That playground is one of the oldest playgrounds now that's next on our list to renovate. And so that was selected and funded for the FY24 season. And so these pictures and renderings that you see are the actual final renderings of the playground that's being put in there. That'll accommodate the ages between 5 to 12, as well as a swing set. Those renderings also show the type of coloring that the equipment will be, as well as the coloring that the safety flooring will be, the pour and play rubber surface matting. That is a huge upgrade. If you go to Brownson Park right now, it's pebbles or pea gravel. And so this will make it easy to accessible, walk on with a wheelchair, or just get around without tripping and falling into that pea gravel. If you remember doing that as a kid or falling on the ground, you get scuffed up. But this will be a safe surface, and shade is important. So the swing set and the playground where it's at now is underneath a big Mexican oak tree over there, the playground is. So they're gonna swap a little bit to make more room for those shade canopies over there, so to kind of make a little redesign to the playground. And then the other thing that the company is going to do is around the perimeter of the park is an old fence. We believe that was put in about 1996. And so we're replacing that with a new black coated, powder coated fencing. And so it's really going to make the park pop with that about 800 feet of fencing. And then it'll help improve also to where the basketball court is, where it's kind of like a 5 or 8 foot fence too, to make it a little bit more sturdy. You know, when you play on the court and if the ball gets away and stuff, there's like one tree in the fence, we'll pull that out. So just a really good renovation for Brownson Park. We do expect to work between July and September on this playground, but we worked with the vendor last week that we could keep the current playground open. We'll be able to put a perimeter fence around it to where they can access it without affecting the current construction. The swing set will come down first so the new playground can go up. Then we'll be able to put the new swing set in, and then we'll take out the playground. So none of the summer recreation activities are going to be taken away from the residents in that area that want to use that playground. They'll still have access to that, and we'll have that some signage out there and the fencing out there so they could do that. So it'll help for that timing of that as well, so that they can play during the summer when they're out of school, but then they'll actually be able to watch and see how things are going in action with that. We'll clean up the basketball court and put on some lines on the basketball court as well. So we're very excited about that playground and this renovation that's in our budget for that.
Questions, comments? He did it.
Looks great.
And so it's going to happen over July to September?
Yes,
you
you'll
think?
start seeing after the 4th of July, the parks team will go in and start setting up some fencing and some signage that the company's going to send, like a signage that they're going to send us. So we'll put up and say, look what's coming, and they'll have the designs on it. And then we'll start working with the company to do like we'll take out the swing set, and then they'll come in and put in the playground that you see. Then we'll go in and work to where they'll put in the swing, and then we'll start working on the fencing and taking out the old playground as well. So we'll phase it in stuff and just keep people posted either through social media or just in general through the park commission. We can give it updates and stuff, but it should be pretty smooth transition with that park.
What do y'all do with the old playground equipment once it's pulled out?
Right, so we did meet with a potential person that wanted it on a private basis, but generally with it, it's pretty old. They would have to really determine if it meets safety guidelines for where they put it, like if it was for a daycare or there was, I think it was a place where they can bring in families and stuff to get them on their feet again. But if it doesn't meet certain safety guidelines that they gotta meet, then they wouldn't be able to take it. And so most playground companies we talk to, they don't reinsure it basically when it goes to, you gotta meet certain depths that you bury the post and stuff, and things might be rotted and stuff. And so it does become a little bit more difficult to donate it to people, but that could be an option. But if it doesn't work and they did have it, then they would have to dispose of it, or we would dispose of it. Yeah, that's a good question for sure. Yeah, that was the
I
option.
just didn't know if it ended up getting scrapped in the landfill
Yeah.
or like if it got sold on Gov Deals or.
Yeah, Gov Deals would be a little bit harder if we can try to donate it to that cause, if it's gonna be a cause that meets a good purpose and mission, but they would have to make sure that that would be certified under their insurance and use for what their needs are.
Thank you.
Okay, a couple updates here at the Lee Tracy Park. And so many of you know on the picture there, it'd be my left, I guess, that we reopened the Lee Tracy splash pad. And so we did a project to redo the tank and the UV and the chemical controller at Ethylee Tracy. That was some issues. And so things have been up and running with that and going pretty well. And we're continuing to where now the company can go to the computer software off-site and they can log into it and see if we have any hiccups or issues. And it's basically having a 24/7 tech. So if they see something where they're like, today we have a lightning storm, if something, makes the internet or technology jitter or jump, they can log into it and tell us, hey, you got an issue with your splash pad. And so that's a lot better than we had before. We're trying to troubleshoot that, and it seems to be working pretty seamlessly. And as far as I know, like if there was any bugs or not, they can just call us or send us an email and say, hey, this is something that you might want to look at. And then that way we can faster respond and faster troubleshoot to the actual issue instead of trying to do the guesswork. So we're very excited for that. And now that all 3 splash pads are open in the community. So we're very excited for that. The next improvement, this last council meeting, we just approved the bathroom structure. And so this is the concept of that bathroom that we approved at council. And this bathroom is part of the master plan study. If you recall, the Ethylee Tracy plan asked for a bathroom area to be between the playground and the splash pad there at Ethylee Tracy Park. Because right now, if you're there and you need to use the facilities with your children, you got to walk quite a ways up the hill towards the amphitheater to use the restroom there. So this ties in one of the other capital improvements and master plan activities to add that bathroom. This here we'll expect to do construction starting in September. Right now, the company will get the contract. They'll start prefabbing this in their warehouse, and then they'll do the site work. We want to wait till after Labor Day, and then we'll do the site work and install between September and November timeframe on the Ethylee site. While that's taking place in those time periods, we'll have less traffic because it's school time, but we'll also provide perimeter fencing around the area and keep those units open for playground and for the splash pad. And then if people see construction, again, if we need to remind them, we can bring that up again and let you know when we actually break ground on site. But we're going to wait just to get through the school year or in the summer play. The other thing is between the splash pad and the playground, there'll be about 115-foot sidewalk that'll connect those 2 areas there because there's already a sidewalk that walks up the front walk to the splash pad, but there's no sidewalk that then goes to the playground. So if you go up by the splash pad, you can then walk across to the bathroom or walk across to the playground without having to walk through the grass just to get to a building. And so that connectivity will be added at that time as well. So definitely a huge feature that'll be added and another checkbox from the master plan that we can continue to say that our vision is tracking. I think it was said before that we don't want to collect dust on the master plan, and we're not. We're putting that plan into place. So it's very excited to be part of these projects.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, for the Riverside Golf, they had the American Junior Golf Association tournament here April 18th to 21st. So they call it the Victoria, Texas Preview. I put a flyer up on your table there a little bit earlier so you can read some of the history and stats on it, some of their outreach digitally, how many likes and shares they get through their social media. Worldwide, world-known tournament. Here, this was our 2nd year of hosting this one in Victoria. This year, we had 14 different states, 4 different countries that had 96 different players that came, did some practice rounds, some pre-qualifying event, and then played in the tournament. And they brought in about 350 visitors that accompanied those players, parents, grandparents, caddies, and so forth. And so you can see the different economic impact that sheet provides you. And then there's a picture of the winners there for both the female and the male side. Landon and Anna were 1 under par for that. So congratulations to those winners. One of the things with sports tourism that Alex Aguero was able to connect with us with Rolando Hernandez, the golf course pro, they were able to get the AGDA to extend for another 2 years. So our 3rd year of the contract is next year, and then we have 2 more years added to that. Wow. And so this is a very exciting tournament that will continue to grow here in Victoria and bring awareness to the golf circuit here for us. So really good props and kudos to the golf team for all their hard work and dedication to prepare the fields and the greens and everything for that. And working with AGAJ, we think working with them as well. And then for those that are golfers too, we just did some maintenance. I got a picture on there. And so they aerified the greens and stuff, and they're recovering well. So I know sometimes golfers don't like to play during that time, because it does make the green a little bumpier and stuff. But the weather was perfect. I talked to Rolando today, and he said the greens responded great in just a week. Normally it takes 2 weeks for the greens to respond, but the play is phenomenal out there on the greens. So when you guys, if you get a chance to talk to him or see him, tell him thank you, because they're doing a bang-up job out there at that golf course. So, all right. All right. And I'll turn it over with Miss Lisa.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, I'm going to move into recreation program and events. And I always say that recreation is at the heart of the community. It's such a big part of bringing families together. I grew up in parks and recreation. When I came from the city of Irving, I had worked with 8 recreation centers, and they were full and they were thriving. There was just so much opportunity for connectivity, and that's big. And we want to bring that here. Even with the city of Lancaster, it was the same. We had a pool, we had recreation classes for youth, adult, teens. And so I'm really excited to really hone in on even more programs and events that we can bring here for the city of Victoria. So we're just getting started. All right, so we have the 4th of July that will be taking place in Riverside Park. What a beautiful location for this to take place. The team has been working very, very hard over the past months to gather information about what can we really bring that would spotlight such a beautiful park. And we have everything from foam and bounce houses, things that everyone wants to see. We also have our traditional programs that we offer for the community with community coffee, Toddlers on the Trail. If you haven't joined us, please visit our website, sign up for the classes today, couples painting, and also our Chess in the Park. And that was a want that was mentioned in the master plan, so we wanted to make sure that that was available as well. And what better opportunity to partner with the Victoria Public Library. Thank you. You can see the smiles on their faces. Our adult leagues are very, very exciting, and they come back year after year. So right now, I love the team names. I think that's the best part about joining. As you can see, these are our winners here, so we thought we would spotlight them. So I know one is Standing on Base, and the other one's Kings, but I can't remember the first part. What is it?
Toxic.
Toxic Kings. That's... I told you, the names get you every time. That's wonderful. And so we look forward to another successful season. Kudos to our recreation coordinators in our department, 3 individuals that are working very, very hard to put these leagues on for the community. Next, we have our community center events. April recap, we had our Warriors Weekend, and that is for wounded warriors. It's a fundraising banquet. We had a total of 800, almost capacity for the attendance for that, and that is something that we do each year. We also had, what you're very familiar with, the Bicentennial Ball. I look forward to joining the next time. I saw the pictures when I was transitioning here, and what a beautiful event that's hosted by the city of Victoria. And then also we had the Southwest Texas Hurricane Conference. So as you can see, we're bringing a diverse crowd of traffic coming into our community center, and we look forward to moving that forward as well. And then we also have something I cannot watch, even on TV or in person, but people love it, our mixed martial arts. We want to be able to reach all types of people, all types of sports, non-traditional and traditional, and what an awesome location to host something like this. And then, of course, our sports tourism. As you can see, I'm super, super tall. I'm 6 foot. I use this height for something. So sports tourism is a big part of my story and my experience. And we have a great supervisor who is taking the reins and really bringing some exciting events to Victoria. I wanted to highlight just a few. This does not do it justice where we're headed for the future, but right now, here are some key ones. The Riverside Stadium, what great partners. We're also hosting a high school playoff, May 16th through the 17th, and that's Shiner versus Ganado. And we also have the Generals. They're going to start playing in June. I had the opportunity to meet with their manager. Super excited to have that partnership and continue that relationship moving forward. And then lastly, we have the Little League District Tournament, and that's taking place June 14th through the 18th. I understand how your roles really affect the community as well, so I look forward to working with each and every one of you to join us at these events and really show the community how much Parks and Recreation has an impact. So thank you. Any questions?
Doing a great job so far.
Well, thank you. I had a great team to get me prepped. How does that sound? No, again, just thank you for what you do. I've had some wonderful boards that I've served with in the past. I'm available at any time to discuss or bring anything to the table that would help the city.
I did have a question, and I wasn't at the last Parks Commission meeting, but I don't think y'all went over it because I think it was just really announced in the last few weeks at the Wild About Wine event and such with the zoo. But do y'all have any updates on the zoo and moving of the Parks and Rec headquarters and all that kind of stuff that you could share with us at this point?
No, sir, we really don't have any specific update, but the Wild About the Zoo was fantastic. I think I saw you at the event. It was great. So the zoo and the zoo director, Bill, they are doing a fantastic job to revitalize the zoo. So with regards to the master plan, they are still working on the master plan. So the question is, should the zoo remain where it is or should it move to another location? So the zoo did hire a master planner to look at different locations as to where they could move to. They did identify one location within Riverside Park. But at this time, there's really no new updates, other than that they are working on the master planning process.
Gotcha. So none of that is in stone. That's just kind of a where they're planning on going at this point.
That's correct.
Potentially in the future.
Potential in the future, and it would, of course, require a massive capital campaign, from what I understand, to rebuild the zoo, move it somewhere else, looking at over about $30 million.
Yeah, like $50 million total.
So it's expensive. So
Right.
they're still in the process.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments?
I have a question about the Queen City Park. Once again, I know I also had to miss last time, but has the decided to just try and revitalize the park, or what is, because I know you were doing the survey of the community and what you
Yes,
found
we,
about that.
thank you for that question, but we did do a survey of the community to see what did they want to do with the park, because at the moment, the park is not being utilized by the community, mainly because of, you have some homeless people who hang out at the park and so forth, so the residents are not using it. So the survey results essentially says that the residents want to revitalize the park.
Okay,
So the direction from the commission and also from the community was to start a program to reactivate the park, starting with having like Zumba in the park, clean up the park, have pop-up parks, to see if the residents would actually come and use the park
okay,
before we invest thousands of dollars in the park. Because the feedback they gave us was that they didn't want the city to go and spend thousands of dollars in the park and the residents still don't use it because of the presence of the homeless and so forth. So the thought was to, let's go ahead and try to reactivate it with some small programming, including the Zumba in the park, cleaning it up, flowers, garden, before we do that. So that's what where we are, Ms. Nichols,
Okay.
is working to reactivate the park. So when we had the Day of Caring recently, so we cleaned the park, we we installed a grill, we cleaned the basketball court, we restriped the basketball court, we had a nice flower bed, we repainted the Queen City Park sign. I think some of you've seen the pictures that
Right, I saw
that we
that.
did. So we've begun the process to reactivate the park, working in partnership with Christ Kitchen to see if the residents would actually utilize the park. So we'll keep you posted. So the thought was to keep this process going for about six months to a year in terms of activating the park. And then after that, we'll go back to the community and see what the next step is.
Has code enforcement done any more with looking at the abandoned, semi-abandoned houses in that neighborhood which is where many of the less desirable elements congregate?
Yes, sir. So code enforcement has been working diligently in the neighborhood, not just around Queen City Park, but in the entire neighborhood, to essentially encourage the property owners to take care of the properties. The ones that are vacant, we are moving forward with getting them demolished. So it's a long process, but we are enforcing the code, property maintenance code, diligently, I would say, in that neighborhood.
All right,
Actually, I have one more issue.
sure.
In some of the events that they do at the park, right, they have a number of people on bicycles, right? Can it be stressed to the organizers of that the bike riders are required to obey city ordinances, stop at stop signs, to not ride 3 abreast on city streets that are still open to traffic? It creates a lot of dangerous situations.
Yes, and that's something that that's been talked about with the police to enforce the traffic especially for now we're seeing scooters, the e-bikes and so forth, and also, like you mentioned, Mr. Fisk, with the bicycles. So that's something that the police department is working on to enforce the law when it comes to bicycles and motorcycles and e-bikes.
All right, so with regards to future agenda items, do we have any? Does anyone? All right. Our next meeting is set for June 10. And if there are no further comments or questions, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I so move.
Second that?
All right, the motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.